Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you all are doing well. Welcome to another episode of The Chat Show. Yes, it is a play on my name. I am Saptak Chatterjee, singer-songwriter, music producer, and hopefully now a content creator as well. For those of you who are tuning in for the very first time, thanks a lot. It's the kind of support that you keep showing continuously that enables me to keep making videos. And for those of you who have followed me throughout my journey, who have supported me, who have encouraged me and loved my music, it is because of the moments that I have shared with you all that I'm able to bring you all of this content today. So thanks a lot. I owe a lot of this to you all. So today we are going to talk about something that everybody who ever enters this field always thinks about, and that is money. So how does a musician really earn in this country or anywhere in the world really? Realistically speaking, how does a musician earn money? What are some of the expenses that us musicians have to incur? And what are some of those hidden expenses that we really don't realize, but we are incurring those on a regular daily basis? So today is all about the money talks. Alright, so let's get down to business. What does a musician do, or what does a musician need to do realistically to earn a living in this country? Now, of course, I know a lot of musicians, a lot of my friends hold jobs. They have proper corporate jobs. Some of them are consultants, some of them work in the edtech sector, some of them are teachers at music institutes. So, of course, the first way to earn money while you practice your own music, while you're a live performer, is to hold a job. But let's talk about a scenario where you don't want to hold a job, where you haven't applied for a job. Say you're fresh out of college and you haven't sat through placements. What do you do then? So this is a list of things that you can possibly do, or a musician can possibly do to earn money. Now, please be advised that all of these cannot be done by you. One individual cannot possibly do all of these because each of these points requires a lot of work. Some of these points require specific amount of work, specific kind of work style training. So I do not want to mislead you and tell you that you can do all of these things, but sure, some of these we all can do. So let's get down to business. Point one, private lessons. If you have something to offer that somebody else wants to learn, if you know something that somebody else does not, then you can take private lessons. I teach students Hindustani classical music because that's what I am trained in, and that's what my expertise is in. So private lessons is number one. Second, of course, is live shows. The problem with live shows is that when we are just starting out, it is difficult. It is really difficult to have a steady series of live shows and a steady income through those live shows. But having said all of that, once we do establish a certain reputation in the industry, once we reach a certain level of commercial success, once the numbers and the reputation start speaking for themselves, live shows is probably the best way of earning a living. And all big musicians, when I say big, I mean commercially successful musicians in today's time, pretty much most of their income comes from live shows. Next is royalties. Now, what are royalties? What are the different kinds of royalties? In short, now I am not a lawyer, I am not a legal person, but in short, what royalties means is whenever your music is played, whenever your music is heard, whenever your music is used for entertainment purposes, whenever your music is consumed in any form or manner, there is some amount of money that gets generated, some amount of revenue that you, the creator, are entitled to receiving. This is known as royalty. Now, there are various kinds of royalties, the most common being mechanical royalties and sync royalties. Mechanical royalties is something that gets generated every time your music is either played on a streaming platform, or say it's played on the radio, or say it's played on some platform which enables the listeners or the viewers to listen to consume your music without having to buy it specifically. So that is known as mechanical royalties. Let's talk about sync royalties. Say your song gets picked up to be used in a Netflix show. That's cool, right? Say your music gets picked up to be placed in a film. Say your music gets picked up to be placed in an advertisement or in some sort of visual media. When this happens, your music generates something known as sync royalties. Now there is another element to that which is known as a licensing fee. Now what does that mean? It means, say I am a production house or I'm a director of a film, or I'm creating an advertisement. I come to you and I say, hey, you know what? I love your music, I love that song, and I want to use that for my film. For that, I will pay you an upfront fee. That is known as a licensing fee. The rights remain with you, everything remains with you, you get due credits. The payment is so that I can use your music and I don't get sued for it. Alright, next set of things is about music production. You can produce music for films, you can produce music for OTT platforms, for shows. You can also produce music for advertisements. Now, I know all three are music production, but all three are quite different. Say you are producing music for films. What does that mean? You can either make background scores for films, you can make music for the films, the songs that we hear in the various films and shows, you can make that. The jingles that we keep hearing in those advertisements that you watch on TV or those pre-YouTube video advertisements, all of those pieces of music, those are known as jingles. If you're a music producer and if you think you can create music for various visual media, then music production can be an extremely lucrative form of income. Moving on, selling merchandise. Now, I know a lot of you might be thinking, why would somebody buy my merchandise? Let me tell you, even with a little bit of commercial success, the audience, your fans, your super fans, they want to hold on to something, a piece of a piece of your music, something tangible that they can keep with themselves, some sort of souvenir, some sort of memory, but something which is tangible. So in that case, you can get t-shirts made, you can get hoodies made, you can get zippers made, you can get pen drives which has your album, your music in it. You can get more creative, you can make keychains, you can make coasters, you can make bookmarks. There's a whole host of things that you can get printed and made which has your music, your artwork, various kinds of visual elements which point to you as an artist and your music. Moving on, you could start selling courses on various edtech platforms. Now I know what you will say, hey, you know what, creating a course requires a lot of experience, a lot of expertise, a lot of skill, a lot of talent, and you are absolutely right. As I said in the beginning, all of these things cannot be done by one individual. Most of these require a lot of time in the industry, a lot of experience, a lot of training, a lot of skill. But I'm assuming that you are working hard. I'm assuming that you're working smart, that you are working on your craft on a daily basis and that you're growing. If all of that is true, then I'm sure you'll reach a stage where you'll be good enough to create a course. If you have something to offer that probably a lot of people don't have, they want to learn it. Say I'm a Hindustani classical vocalist, or I'm a songwriter, or I'm a music producer. If I have something to teach, and if I am articulate enough to form it, to shape it into a full-fledged course, then there are lots of edtech platforms out there which are more than willing, more than happy to get you on board so that you can sell your course. And let me tell you, I know musicians who are earning lakhs and lakhs every year through selling their courses. No names, but each of those musicians are fantastic at what they do, which is why they're able to sell the courses. The next thing is brand deals. Now I know what you'll say, hey Saptak, brand deals are mostly reserved for actors, models, YouTubers, influencers. Let me tell you, that is not true. I have done brand deals myself, and whenever I say brand deal, people think, I'm referring to those super high priced and extremely well-paying endorsements. No. Let me give you an example. I'm a songwriter, music producer, right? When I'm performing live, I keep using in-ear monitors. When I'm mixing music, I wear headphones. When I'm listening to music just for pleasure, I wear earphones. Now say a brand like Sennheiser, say a brand like Bose, say a brand like CCA, or a brand like Bear Dynamic. All of these brands make in-ear monitors, they make headphones, they make earphones. So you see, if I reach a certain level of commercial success and standing, where these brands feel that if I use their products on camera, on screen, my following, my followers and fans can also end up buying those products, then you never know. One of these brands might reach out to me and say, hey Saptak, for your next YouTube video, or for your next live performance, or for your next studio session, why don't you use our products? In turn, we will give you a whole host of products from our catalog. You are free to choose whichever product you like, you connect with, whichever product you enjoy using. And you know what? You can place those products in your videos. And the fact is, the best part is that I genuinely like those products. So when I'm selling those products to you, it is genuine product placement. While we're at it, let me tell you about another source of revenue for a lot of artists out there. Collaborations with mobile apps. Now, a lot of apps nowadays want to help out creators, young, new, up-and-coming creators. They don't want already established influencers. They don't want popular playback singers. They don't want musicians who have already made it big. They only want to work with musicians who are just starting out. So, they would approach you and say, hey, if you make a series of videos about how to do this, how to do this, how to improve, how to sing this style of music better, how to be a better, I don't know, pop singer, how to be a better Sufi singer, then we will buy those videos from you and put those on our app, and we will pay you for that. It's extremely lucrative. Believe me, I recently closed a deal with an app like that, and I made, I think, around 20-25 videos for them, and I got paid for each video. Now, I'm not saying this can work with everybody, because there needs to be certain value addition that you need to do to that app for them to approach you and feel that you are the right person for them. But if you manage to do that, then there are a whole host of apps and video platforms, short format video platforms out there who are more than willing to work with you. All right, now let's talk about something which is very interesting, and that is, drumroll, YouTube. Now that is exactly what I'm doing right now. YouTube is such a democratic platform. It is available to everybody. Anybody can put out videos. If you have something to offer, just go ahead, start making videos, be consistent, add genuine value, and put out videos. You might not start getting paid immediately, but YouTube is probably one of the best and most lucrative sources of revenue for creators in today's world. So many of my close friends, in fact, some of my closest friends are creators, YouTube creators. They're bloggers, vloggers, influencers. And if you can utilize this platform well, then really there is no upper limit. Even the sky is not the limit. Next, let's talk about the live performance avenues. Say you're performing live, right? What's the one thing that you just cannot do without? Of course, the music, the band members, all of that is fine. But imagine if there was nobody handling your live sound. Yes, I'm talking about a live sound engineer. If you are a music producer, if you are trained in live sound, if you think you've got a flair for it, then you can start by approaching smaller bands, duo, trio, singer-songwriter, individual setups, and you can tell them, hey, you know what? I'm a new live sound engineer and I want to help you out. If you like what I do, maybe you can hire me for the next performance that you get called for. So live sound engineering is a very, very lucrative form of income. Next comes studio engineering. A recording engineer, a mixing engineer, or a mastering engineer, all three are needed in a studio. While we're at it, a music producer again is a very, very important need for a studio setup. So if you are a music producer, you can not only be a producer, you can also mix, you can also master, and you can also record. So those are four things clubbed into one. But I know people who are just recording engineers. I know people who are just mixing engineers, who are just mastering engineers. Next, let's talk about tour managers and artist managers. Say you've been releasing music over a period of 5 or 6 years consistently, you've been gathering fans, followers, people appreciate your music, and now you decide to go on a multi-city tour. That's a big, big achievement. But how do you pull it off all on your own? Well, it is really difficult, and this is where tour managers and talent managers come handy. A tour manager will make sure everything from travel to accommodation to coordinating between cities to coordinating between venues to making sure the equipment reaches on time, all of that is taken care of and managed well. Now, I know few people who are extremely good tour managers. I know only few people because tour management as a concept is very prevalent in the West, the US, the UK. But in India, it's still a growing concept. It's still a growing discipline. But if you get a hang of it, if you find your space in it, it can be extremely rewarding. Talent management or artist management. Now, this is another area where, again, our country is now seeing an increasing number of very, very successful talent managers and artist managers. Now, you must have heard a lot of people say, hey, you know what? We don't need talent managers anymore. We don't need artist managers anymore. Nowadays, we can do all of it ourselves. While that is true, at some point down the line, we all need a talent or an artist manager, simply because we can't do all of it alone. We need help. Nobody can thrive in this industry without help. And that help comes in the form of talent managers or artist managers. They will help you pitch yourself to music festivals, to curators. They will make sure that the direction that you're taking or your vision is in line with the kind of music, is in line with the kind of expectations that you have. An artist manager's job is not to make your music for you. Their job is not to tell you what to do and what not to do. Their job is to take all of that, assimilate all of that, and make sure it's focused, make sure there is a direction, make sure there's a vision. So if you're somebody who networks really well, who has a very good relationship with other artists, who is very good at managerial functions, and who usually is good at, finding clarity within chaos, then maybe you could try your hand out managing other artists, managing talent. Now, the second last avenue of revenue for an artist is affiliate marketing for products. Think about it. Say I talk about a pair of headphones, or I talk about a laptop, or I talk about a microphone that I use. And at the end of it, I will say something like, hey guys, if you like this microphone, check out the link that I've given in the description box and go buy the product. Now, you know what I did just there? Affiliate marketing. That link that is there in the description box is a personalized link that the platform has provided me. I in turn give you that link, and the moment you buy a product using that link, I get a small percentage of commission from that. This is known as affiliate marketing. Now let me tell you, affiliate marketing can generate a ton of money. I personally have never done it, but who knows, now that I'm making YouTube videos, perhaps I can start doing it soon. But I know a lot of people, writers, content creators, YouTubers in the world of finance and investment who earn a ton of revenue through affiliate marketing. So after you reach a certain stage in your career, I think affiliate marketing can turn out to be quite a nice source of side income for you. Now, on to the last point, which is content writing for music blogs, journals, media houses, and online press. Say a Rolling Stones or an Indian Music Diaries or a Rock Street Journal. A lot of the times what happens is they outsource certain articles, columns, themes to performing artists, to curators, to other creators outside of their organization. If you are somebody who has a strong command over whichever language you prefer, Hindi, English, or a regional language, or if you're somebody who's into writing, who's very articulate, then that is another avenue that you can possibly explore. Now, with all that said and done, let's talk about musicians के खर्चे क्या होते हैं. Now, it's not expensive to be a musician, but it's not always entirely cheap as well. Let me give you a list of expenses that a musician that I have to incur on a regular basis. To start off, rehearsals. Whenever we have shows or tours or whatever, if you're making a new song, we rehearse a lot. Now, all of those rehearsals cost money, anywhere between 300 per hour to upwards of 600, 700 per hour. Now, if it's your project, if it's your band, if you're the artist who's making their own music, then I hate to say it, you have to incur all of those costs. Cost number 2 is equipment cost. Now, because I'm a music producer, because I have been in this industry for a long time, I have had to buy a lot of equipment over the years. Headphones, in-ear monitors, microphones, monitoring for external listening, a laptop, sound card, and various other things. Now, these cannot be avoided. I hate to say it, but as we keep growing in the industry, we need to be able to record ourselves. We need to be able to monitor ourselves when we are performing live. And for all those things, we need to purchase in-ear monitors, sound cards, microphones, headphones, etc. These costs cannot be avoided in the long run, and yes, they have to be borne by you. Now, the next thing is recording and production costs. Say you're not a music producer yourself. You have to get your music recorded, right? You also need to get it mixed and you need to get it mastered. So all of that will incur some amount of cost. Now that could be a very big cost depending on which studio you approach, where you go to, who you approach. But if you're a music producer yourself, there is a chance that you can save a lot of those costs. Next comes visual production costs, photo shoots, video shoots, getting a live concert shot, getting a studio session shot. All of those things cost money, and let me tell you, all of those things are very, very crucial. As we keep growing in this industry, we need to be seen more. We need to put out content on a regular basis. As you can see right now, I'm shooting a YouTube video. All of this does not come free or cheap. You need to spend some amount of money behind, talent, a great filmmaker, a great photographer, a great pair of lighting, cameras, etc., etc. All of these incur costs. Next, let's talk about travel. Every time you go to a concert, every time you have a live performance, every time you have a rehearsal, you need to travel, right? We don't realize it, but all of that travel and fuel cost keeps adding up, and with the cost of fuels rising almost every day, it can amount to a lot. Next, let's talk about music videos. All of these fancy music videos that you see on YouTube, none of that comes free, right? And the fancier you get, the more expensive it gets. Now, I have worked with filmmakers back in the day when I was just starting off. A music video would cost me, say, around 15,000, 20,000. Now, of course, because I've spent so many years in the industry, I spend a little more on music videos. Depending on where you are, which stage of your career you're at, what sort of financials you're comfortable with, you will have to spend some amount of money on music videos. And I don't think this is something you can avoid. It is extremely important. Next, let's talk about some live performance expenses. Live sound engineering. Now, even though you might be traveling to a venue which already has an in-house sound engineer, it's always good to be traveling with your own live sound engineer who understands your sound. The moment that happens, you need to pay your live sound engineer. Now, speaking from experience, when you are just starting off, it's very, very important to have a good sound when you're performing live. On the other hand, when you're starting out, you don't get paid much to perform live. So that extra bit of money that you need to pay the live sound engineer to make sure that you sound great needs to come out of your own pocket. Now that is an expense that I feel you should always account for, because you cannot do without it. Second cost is the cost of extra equipment and spare parts. In my experience, things always go wrong at a live concert. A cable stops working, an adapter stops working, something gets short, a light fuses, a guitar string breaks, your microphone stops working, maybe your headphones or your in-ear monitor stop working. In that case, you need to always have extra. Who buys all those extra pieces of equipment? Well, if it's your band, if it's your project, if you're the singer-songwriter, then it's you. So always account for that, and if possible, on a regular basis, every often keep buying small pieces of extra equipment so that you don't need to incur all of that cost at once. Now let's talk about studio sessions. What is a studio session? Say you've made a new song and you want your bandmates to record it. Now, very often, more often than not, the members, the musicians that you work with will request you for a studio fee, a studio session. Now, when it's a live performance, you get paid, right? And you pay your musicians out of that money. What happens in the case of a studio recording? Nobody's paying you to record a new song, right? In that case, you need to incur that cost yourself. So it goes out of your own pocket. Now, these are some of the expenses that, they might be obvious, they might be apparent. On a regular basis, when you're growing, when you're performing, when you've selected this career as a profession, you will need to incur these costs. But what about some of those hidden costs that nobody tells you about? What are those hidden costs that you don't even realize you're incurring? But at the end of the day, when you are calculating where the money comes from and where it goes, you suddenly realize that you're down a lot of change. But where did that money go? Let me tell you. First, and this is very, very, very important, is called TDS, tax deducted at source. Many times what happens is, say a show is going to pay you 30,000. When the check actually gets encashed, you only get 27,000. Why is that? 3,000 is 10% of 30,000 and 10% is the TDS amount that gets deducted the moment an organizer or venue decides to pay you. Now, don't get shocked. This will happen every single time you receive payment. There are some tax stipulations which say TDS is only deducted when you cross a threshold of 30,000. But let me tell you, once you start performing actively, no matter what the payment is, TDS will get deducted. So do not get surprised. Don't let this catch you off guard. Always expect a 10% deduction from all your income. So account for that. Next is something very casual and something that happens far too often, but we don't realize it. Say you've had a brilliant show. Everybody had a wonderful time. The audience is happy, your bandmates are happy, you are happy, and you all decide to go out for dinner. In all of that excitement, you decide to pay for all of that food. Now, we might not realize it, but that bill comes out to be hefty more often than not. So make sure you account for all of that. Make sure you know where the money comes from and where it goes. And if possible, speak to your band members, let them know that you're already incurring a lot of expenses. So it'll be nice to share the dinner. The next cost that you incur without realizing is electricity cost. The moment we set up a home studio, the moment we start buying all of this fancy equipment and gear, we set it up in our bedrooms and now we have this fancy, beautiful bedroom studio. But hey, all of that requires electricity, right? And at the end of the month, when you get that electricity bill, you're wondering where the hell did this extra 5,000 come from? Well, it came from that monitor, all those fancy microphones and sound cards and external pieces of gear that you're using. So don't be surprised. If you are purchasing equipment, expect a rise in the electricity bill. The next cost that you incur without realizing is eating out. The more you stay out, the more you need to eat out. We can't always carry tiffin boxes, right? And we can't always just eat a banana. The more we eat out, the more we incur costs of that. So just keep in mind, when you're growing up, when you're still struggling, when you're sort of living paycheck to paycheck, it's important to keep track of where the money is going. Now, the last cost that, is hidden, maybe not so, but you don't realize it, is alcohol and cigarettes. Now, I know it's a controversial topic. Every musician, everybody has their own escape and eccentricities. But what we don't realize it is if we calculate the amount of money we spend on alcohol and cigarettes every year, I'm pretty sure we can buy a couple of iPhones. And believe me, I've done the calculation, I've done the math. And if you stop smoking or drinking today, I can guarantee you can buy an iPhone by this time next year. So having said all of that, I hope you can, try out some of those ways to earn a little extra income on the side to make sure that, life is just a little bit easier for you all. And I hope next time you get money, you know exactly where it's going and, you don't get caught off guard. If you enjoyed what you heard, if you think whatever I said adds value to your career, to your life, please leave a like on this video. Please subscribe to the channel. There's an icon down there and there's a very small bell icon right next to it. Hit that. Let YouTube know that you like these videos. It helps me become friends with the algorithm. And we all know it's good to be friends with the YouTube algorithm, right? I will see you in another episode of The Chat Show next week, same time, same day, with another topic that will hopefully add a lot of value to your career, to your life, to your journey. Till then, stay safe, take care. If there is anything you want to share with me, please let me know. You can email me, you can hit me up on Instagram. All of those links will be mentioned here. You can drop a comment. If there's some way of earning that I have left out, if there are hidden expenses that you are incurring that I haven't spoken about, please feel free to drop a comment down below. I love to interact with all of you and I will get back to each and every one of your messages. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy. Work hard, work smart, try and learn something new every single day. Be better than you were yesterday. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.